This is a production of WTVI PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte, a City of International Success, is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Coming up next on Charlotte, a City of International Success, I will interview Rocio Gonzalez, and we're going to talk about the direct impact of the Latino community on Charlotte region. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Charlotte, a City of International Success. I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Today our guest is Ms. Rocio Gonzalez, and she is the Executive Director of Latin American Chamber of Commerce of Charlotte. Rocio, welcome to our show.
How are you, Maha? Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you in many different ways because Latin community has influenced our Charlotte region so much. So I'm looking forward to hearing all that. But before that, you were actually born in New York?
Yes, I was born in New York, in Manhattan. And at the early age of 2, my parents sent me to Colombia, to Bogota, Colombia. So I consider myself a New Yorktana, from New York, but Bogotana.
I like
Yes,
that. I
yes.
like that. And so you, did you go to your grandparents? Who were you living with?
Yes, actually my parents stayed behind and they sent me to Colombia with my grandparents and my aunts, and one of them was married and had 2 children, 2 boys.
Yeah.
So I came into a household of children and aunts and uncles, and it was a pleasurable experience. So yes, that's where I grew up, in Bogota.
Filled with kids
Yes,
and activities.
Exactly. I was raised as the youngest in the house, although I am the oldest in my family nucleus. Yes. Yes.
Were you spoiled, should I ask?
Yes, I was the queen. I was the queen of the house. Yes, I was the queen of the house. But soon after, my parents went back to Colombia when I was 8 years old. I have a sister that is 9 years younger than I, and that completely changed my life to the better. Then I had a little sister with me. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, but it intrigues me. So you actually moved from New York. Of course, you were only 2.
Yes.
To Colombia, and you went to school there, obviously.
Yes,
Right.
I did my elementary, middle school, and high school in Colombia. And it was a little challenging for my parents. We were not really a poor family. We were medium class, but we were not very wealthy to be able to go through the burden of paying for the whole 12 years of education.
Oh, whoa.
And then
Okay. So, are you saying that your elementary school, middle school, and high school was not public education? It was not free.
No.
So you had to pay for it.
Correct. Education is only free in the very mountainous areas, just to end literacy.
Yeah.
Anybody that goes to school and graduates from high school, they have to go through the whole 12 years of paying for education, beginning from kindergarten all the way until you graduate, 12 years, yes.
Wow, I think
Yes.
that would be a huge financial burden on parents.
On every family. It's
Yeah.
just imagine if every family in the United States would have to send their children to private school. That's how expensive it is. So when you finally graduate from high school, you have this feeling of, wow, I accomplished something. I graduated from high school.
Oh, wow.
So going to a university, or there's not such a thing as a community college like CPCC, where you can study. And it's very hard on parents
For higher education.
For higher education, yes.
So, on the other side of it, so you were born here and you went there. So, and then you went to school. Was it any different for you? Did you feel, even though you look like them, did you feel that you were different in any way during the class times or conversations, or was there any difference?
Yes, there was. I felt that I was part of a family and a country, but when I was asked, where are you from?
Yeah.
I'm from the United States. And some would believe me, some would not, and they would say, really, from New York? And the funny thing is that from the exterior of the United States, people think that the United States is New York or Miami or California. So it was like, oh, just a simple thing to answer. But yeah, I struggled a lot because I felt kind of out of place. For example, when I was in school, all the children would be asked to pin down in the map of Colombia, where are you from? And I wasn't even on the map. So it was a little struggle too. And that also made me very interested about learning English and more about the culture and the music. And so I was always wanting to learn more about the American culture.
That must be really hard as a child, not to see yourself on the map with the rest of them.
Correct. Very, yes, felt very secluded at some points, yes.
Yeah. So, so of course, you were with your grandparents, and was it financially difficult for you growing up, or was it just comfortable?
It was actually very comfortable. I feel very blessed because I not only received toys for Christmas from Colombia, but also from the United States.
Okay.
I would receive dolls that you just not held, but they moved around and did little things. So I was very special that way. I felt that I was very special because I had two sets of parents. I had my mom and my dad that were in the United States, and also I had my mom and my dad who were my aunt and my uncle that were in Colombia. So I was feeling very special as well. It was just kind of a struggle. I'm different, but a different special. And I felt that I was growing up in a comfortable environment, very good sound morals, really didn't suffer that much. So I'm very happy about that. I feel the one big suffering that I had was that when I graduated from high school, I understood that my father really didn't have enough financial means to send me to the university and for me to finish a five-year degree, because there you don't go for 4 years, it's 5 years.
Now, did you say that if you, at least when you were going to college, at that time that you couldn't work and go because you're required to be full-time?
Yes, I have mentioned to you before that it's very great burden for students in those countries, because the way they set up the system is that you have to be a full-time student. How they set up the semesters and the classes, they really don't allow you the opportunity to have like a part-time job. There is not such a thing as financial aid or student loans. So pretty much you either have the means to go to the university or you don't. You just work. And knowing that I was a USA citizen, I could come here and have the opportunity to go to school, have access to financial aid, have part-time jobs. I knew that even if I had 4 or 5 different part-time jobs, I would try to make ends meet. So that was my drive to return to my country. The United States.
True.
Yes. And when I come here, they say, well, this is not your country. Well, yes, it
yes,
is.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Where I was born.
I have 2 countries.
You're very lucky, very fortunate to have that. After you came here, you tried to pursue college?
Yes, I did. I landed in Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama at a military base, and I went to Enterprise State Junior College there for computer science. But it so happened that soon after I was, the family that I was with, the uncle I was with, was stationed to go to Germany, and I lived in Germany for 3 years. I worked during the day, and I went to school at night, and I received a 2-year degree in computer science from University of Maryland, from the European campus.
Oh, wow.
And then when I graduated from there, I came back to the United States, and the next step was to figure out where I wanted to go. I was hoping to go to Boston University and finish my computer science degree. But the family connections I had there, they transferred, so I ended up going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, you went all over the place.
Yes, I moved to Pennsylvania. Yes. And with the help, it's always been the help of the family. You know, my support system has been my family. This time, one of my aunts that lives in New York and has a home in the Pennsylvania area opened her doors to me, and I was able to return to school, complete a 4-year degree in hotel management.
Wonderful.
And just continued to work. I held several different jobs, And then after that, I moved to Charlotte. I came to Charlotte.
Okay, so before you came to Charlotte, the jobs that you were doing, talk a little bit about it, because before the show when we talked about it, I was totally amazed because I thought they are very difficult jobs to do, but probably that helped you to build your personality and patience and all that. So talk a little bit about some of the jobs that you have done.
Yes, correct. For example, in Germany, at a very early age, I was working in the payroll department, and I was promoted as the accounts payable manager. I was able to automate their system from Lotus 123 so that they could generate their checks and all of their reports using that computer. So I was very happy to have done that. In Pennsylvania, I worked at a group home with mentally handicapped adult women, and I was in the direct care. I was also the manager of a group home. It was very rewarding and very sad, but very rewarding. Yeah. Then when I moved from the north side of Pennsylvania to close to the Philadelphia area, I became a county caseworker, and for about 3 years I was a child abuse investigator.
Oh,
so,
wow, now that's hard, I would think.
I was at the front end of the suspicions and the reports of abuse.
Oh, wow.
And being bilingual.
So you need to go into
Yes. Being bilingual, I was sent to different schools, to the police department, to hospitals, to houses. It was very stressful. But I felt that I was doing good with the community because I was either protecting children or protecting parents or resolving situations. It was very stressful, but it was a very wonderful experience. So I worked in the accounting and the finance business. I worked in the hotel and tourism business. I worked in the human services business.
Yeah.
It's given me a lot of experience throughout. And then when I came to Charlotte, I did not want to continue with child abuse. I was also a parent teacher. Yes. It's like, no, I think I already did my part.
Yeah.
And I pursued a career in real estate. I was a real estate agent and a broker also. I received my licenses, my certification from CPCC.
Oh, okay.
Both of them. At that time, you needed to receive your certification, the sales certification, and also the broker in charge certification. And both I got them from CPCC. I can say I'm very happy. I was very successful. I was a multi-million-dollar producer. And then the economy kind of hit the industry.
All these experiences, working in such difficult fields, as well as something like real estate, where you're really, talking to people, and it's more on the celebration side, I hope, where they're finding their new home. It's kind of excitement, or they're selling their homes and starting a new life. So what did these experiences teach you?
Well, it's very funny that you mentioned that, because when you think of real estate, you have to be knowledgeable about finances, and the accounting part of it provided me that information. Okay. You also needed to understand a little bit about the human behavior and how to help them understand what their needs were. And being a county caseworker also helped me with the interviewing part of it to assess their needs and figure out what they wanted. The marketing and the contracts that you needed to write, also the county casework also helped me with that. And then honestly, Maha, after having so many hard situations with child abuse, if any of my buyers or sellers were having trouble with fixing something, it was something that it could be fixed. So it gave me the peace that anything that is material is really not that big of a deal. It can be fixed. And as long as your health is fine and your family's fine, everything's well. So I was able to help a lot of people handle the stress of selling a house or buying a house. And they were very thankful for that type of support and intervention. I felt that in real estate, my job was to make minds meet in the middle and negotiate so that everybody would be happy and comfortable with the result. So all of that gave me that experience, I would say.
Yeah, that, definitely, because the diversity of jobs that you have done is a learning experience. And I always tell people when I'm mentoring or talking to them, there is no experience that you have in your life is going to go waste.
Correct.
Because you're
Correct.
going to use that at some point, no matter how small the job is, no matter how big the job is. And then
Yes.
no matter who you talk to, there's something to learn all the time.
And also the opportunity that I had, I was hoping and praying that I would come back to the United States. And then I had the blessing to travel to the United States, travel to Europe,
Yeah.
travel to many different countries in Europe,
Wow.
travel to many different areas here in Pennsylvania. And that gave me the opportunity to see the difference in cultures, the difference in thinking from different backgrounds, how language can also really determine your thinking and how you express yourself. It really opened up my eyes to be more understanding and inclusive. And I'm feeling very blessed to have had all these experiences.
Oh, definitely. So, here you're in Charlotte.
Yes.
And when you came to Charlotte, you told me that you were going where again?
I was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then, oh yes, I remember our prior conversation. Well, when the move to Charlotte came upon me, I was jumping up and down, thinking that I was going to be living close to the beach, that I was going to be living right by the ocean. I was just so excited. It's like, wow, I love the ocean. I'm moving down to what I thought it was right by the ocean, and it ended up being, I was confused with Charleston, South Carolina. So when I looked in the map for Charlotte, and here I was in Pennsylvania, about an hour away from the beach, and then I see the map, it's like, wait a minute, this is 4 or 5 hours away from the beach, and even South Carolina is 3.5 hours. So I was a little sad about that. But when I moved to Charlotte, not when I moved to Charlotte, when I first visited Charlotte, I was just amazed with how new this city was. How
When was that? When did you move to Charlotte?
this was in 1999.
1999,
Yes,
okay.
I moved to Charlotte in 1999. The skyline was very, very different from what it is right now. I'm
Yes.
very happy to have seen Charlotte flourish to the city that it is right now. And it was still very small. There were several major highways that we have finally completed that were just maybe 2/3 or maybe half built so far. The population wasn't that high, and there was a Latino community, but not as large as it is right now. Charlotte has grown a lot and has just changed tremendously. But I felt in love with Charlotte because of how many green, how many trees there were
Yes, I
here
know.
and
Everybody
parks.
loves it.
The cost of living was wonderful. Moving
Yeah.
from the north to the south, it was extremely
Affordable.
affordable.
And,
Yes, I could actually buy a house. I owned a house in Philadelphia, and the house was built in 1920.
Oh, wow.
That's what I could afford back then. So all of a sudden, to have a house that was built, a 2-year-old house, was like, wow, this is just amazing.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And the fact that you could be anywhere and still be 15 to 20 minutes away from a downtown of a major city. It was beautiful. So I really loved Charlotte. I moved here, and that's when I started to decide that I didn't want to go into that same industry, but go to real estate. Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great story.
Thank
Charleston
you.
versus,
Yeah, Charleston versus
but
Charlotte.
we are very glad that you actually ended up in Charlotte.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because you worked with Latin American Chamber of Commerce. What capacity did you start your
Well,
position?
all along, I was, during my real estate career, I was a member of the Latin American Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, I see.
And when I was a broker in charge of a real estate office, the Latin American Chamber of Commerce invited me to be part of their board of directors. And I became the executive secretary. I was the executive secretary for 2 years. Then the chamber began to grow a lot, and there was a need to expand within our organization. And I took on the role of the director of membership and resource development.
Oh, wow.
I felt this was the wonderful fit that I was looking for, because I was
Yeah.
going to continue in touch with the business community, because I was a business owner.
Sure.
I was going to continue to be in touch with the Latino community, which
Yeah.
is the community that I was serving.
Yeah.
And I was also going to be in contact with the American community and pretty much serve as a bridge of communication between both cultures, which I had done in the past. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much my passion, to be the bridge of communication of both cultures.
So now, you are the executive director.
Yes.
Okay, so before we get into it, there are many people, we hear of these things, Asian American Chamber of Commerce, and there's Italian Chamber of Commerce, and Latin American Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
So, very lame question. What is Latin American Chamber of Commerce?
Well, just to give you a tiny piece of history, the Latin American Chamber of Commerce started as a small council of the regular Charlotte Chamber. And when you find people from your own culture, you tend to gravitate towards each other. And
Yeah.
several business owners, Latin American business owners, identified each other and decided to just go out and help each other, and maybe go out to lunch and provide support to each other. And this turned into the Las Americas Business Council. And the Las Americas Business Council back in 1996 had maybe, 10, 15 people.
Oh, wow.
Started to grow to 30 and 50. And then finally they all looked at each other and they said, well, I think we have enough leadership here to have our own chapter.
Yeah.
So we became the Latin American Chamber of Commerce of Charlotte in 2001.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes,
2001.
in 2001 with a regular
15
chapter.
years,
Yes, yes, and we have grown tremendously. We started, like I said, with about 50 or 60 members back then, and we have over 450 members.
450 members.
Yes, and when I say
That's a
members,
large-
when I
yeah.
say members, one member is one large corporation that may have several.
Oh, really? So you're
Several
talking about
representatives.
businesses?
Yes, businesses, entrepreneurs, small
Yeah.
businesses, medium companies, corporations.
450.
Yes, yes, we're very happy to that. And
And that is it Charlotte region or is just Charlotte?
it is the Charlotte metro area.
Metro area,
Yes, it's the Charlotte
okay.
metro area. Charlotte is surrounded by 4 or 5 different counties,
yeah.
and we attract people from several of the counties that are surrounding Charlotte. So we try to promote and service that community, and we move our events to be closer to where the need is.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
That's
Your
pretty
question
large.
of what is the Latin American
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
It is a nonprofit organization,
Okay.
and our mission is to foster the development and economic growth of the Latin American business community.
Okay.
And we do that by integrating the Latin American business community with the American business community.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
it's obviously needed because you're talking about 450 just in this vicinity.
Yes.
And that
yes.
must be a huge responsibility, on
Correct.
a position like yours to actually put everything together.
Yes.
So, very briefly in a minute, can you tell me about what does that your position entail? Because I'm just fascinated with so much going on
Thank
at
you.
the organization.
Well, as the executive director, I am responsible for ensuring that that the 3 segments of the community that we have are served by us. Our focus is, number 1, to help those people in transition
Okay.
and the job seekers. We help them retool, we help them by mentoring them, so that is one sector. The second sector is the small entrepreneur and small business owner, the startup businesses, the medium businesses that need to grow and have access to capital, to information, and to a talent pool of employees.
Wow.
And we also help the corporations, because the corporations not only want to tap into the Latino market, but also are tapping into the Latino talent.
Oh, okay.
So we help them find and recruit Latino talent. We help them by training their Latino executives and also connect them with the small businesses and the Latino business-owned companies in the Charlotte area. So we provide educational programs. We provide networking programs. We bring local personalities that are of interest to our business community.
Yeah.
We also bring, for example, we just had at one of our lunches the General Consul of Mexico, who traveled from Raleigh to come and be our keynote speaker.
Nice.
Or, for example, for our annual meeting, we had the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce President, Javier Palomares, attend Charlotte. And also our platform of services received the award of the 2014 Hispanic Chamber of the Year award last year.
Oh, wow,
Yes,
congratulations.
yes. So we're very proud of the impact that we have done in Charlotte and how...
Well, definitely there's no question about the impact, the economic impact, the cultural impact that the Charlotte region experiences through, you know, just the population that's here.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being on our show and giving us an idea as to what ALEC, you know, what does it stand for? What is a Latin American Chamber? Because we hear it, but we don't understand it. And I think you said it beautifully. And I wish you all the best. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful under your leadership. And again, thank you for being on our show.
Thank you, Maha. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you for watching Charlotte, a city of international success. Please join us again next time, right here on WTVI PBS Charlotte.
A production of WTVI PBS Charlotte.